Good morning. It is 10:01 a.m. on Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. Call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. If everyone would please stand for our invocation. Please join me in prayer. Holy Father, you are good and glorious, and we praise you this morning. Lord, we thank you for just the blessings that you pour out upon us, the place that we live, the laws that we live under, just the weather that you've given us, and most of all for the possibility of salvation through Christ. Thank you. Lord, we lift you up, and we also ask that you would lift us up, that you would give us wisdom to make good decisions, and that you would let all of us have the right attitude of humility and grace to do this job well and to serve people, whether it's within the county family or residents or whoever it might be, to serve them and to serve them well. We love you, and we ask for your special blessing upon our county and upon us. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join us for the pledge to the U.S. flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, everyone may be seated. No presentations this morning. Just a really confusing one later. All right, it is currently 10:03. We will open up for public comment. Remind everyone that comments need to be limited to 5 minutes or less, and Commissioners Court cannot take action on any item brought up during public comments. Do we have any public comments this morning? I figured Mr. Smythe would have a comment.
Thank you, Judge.
Some good news, I think, to say.
Yes, we've got good news this morning. Iowa Park is open.
Yes.
IT has been on a full court press over there all week. Ed's over there this morning. Jeanette got it open. No problems, no difficulties. Building looks super. I want to give a shout out to Rick and his crew. They've been nothing short of a NASCAR operation over there the last week and got the place spick and span. So Iowa Park this morning is in extremely good shape, and we're very happy to get it open. And Commissioner Fincannon has already reached out to me this morning with a set of plans on Burke Burnett, so we're on to the next thing at some point in time with that. But very glad to get that open back to the citizens of Iowa Park. So.
Great. So full operations going, right?
And
Right
there is
this
a difference
minute.
between it being open and being operational, Judge.
It's fair.
Tommy, you feel like there will be a similar timeline for the Burke project as was with the Iowa Park project?
I'd rather not answer that. I'd rather, we got a commissioner sitting on the court that'll probably have, but here's the deal. I will say this, we're gonna have to close Burke, Jeff, and we'll close it and then have to divert a big chunk of that. I imagine will end up going to Iowa Park and the rest of it come to the annex. So it's gonna be the same concept, just that volume showing up somewhere at a different office. But we look forward to working with Mickey on that. And he sent me some plans this morning to look at, so we've been in contact with Mickey on that. But on another unrelated note, I want to give a shout out to Commissioner Beecham for all the work and on that project at Iowa Park, and another project that he can add to his resume that I think turned out extremely well. So I think the citizens of Iowa Park will love the color scheme. There's one certain color over there that they're very proud of. And that color did show up in this remodel. But you did a great job, Mark. And on behalf of our staff, that office was long overdue for that as well. And we certainly appreciate it.
Tommy, what's your schedule in Iowa Park?
It's Tuesdays and Thursdays, Mary.
Tuesday, Thursday,
Tuesdays,
okay.
Thursdays. Jeanette does most of she's our training officer, and we're going to allow another young lady to go over there and train with her. So it's going to be a good environment for this new hire to be over there with Jeanette. So for a while, we'll have Iowa Park double staffed. So she'll learn both property and motor vehicle at the same time.
Well, you've run good volume over there in the past, so
Sure.
Yeah.
that's good. That'll help.
On another unrelated note, while I'm thanking Commissioner Beecham, I want to thank him for the road project out on Reeves Road. I spend quite a bit of time. I don't live out there, but most of my family, JC and Matt and her 3 kids, and Lane live out that direction. And I spend quite a bit of time out there after September 1st because it's time to start knocking down birds. But the Reeves Road project that was done out there, Mark, that road is slick.
That's all of our county roads that we did this year.
Well done. A very nice road. I'm telling you, turned out super. So
That new equipment, the quality's definitely stepped up.
It's really helped, Tom.
It sure does, and it shows up in the finished product. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Tom.
you.
All right, we have any other public comment this morning?
Yeah.
Okay. Chief?
So, I just wanted to throw some thoughts out there about last week's discussion about the weigh station. I hate talking about law enforcement and money, revenue generation. I think the two, but I do understand that with the penalties that are assessed with tickets, that does go back into the coffers and will help alleviate taxpayer burden. If this body doesn't choose to invest in that weigh station, DPS might not use it. I don't work for DPS, I'm not their spokesman, but they may use it a couple of times just because they feel like they have to, but I don't think you'll see the return on investment like you want if you don't invest and give them something nice. If we put out a building, very basic use of that, then they're not going to hire citizens to work there. And like I said, the troopers, they'll go somewhere else. They have a similar setup in Clay County, and when you drive through Clay County, you see them using it, but not very often. I think it's a very unique opportunity because of where we are between Amarillo and Decatur on 287. There's a lot of traffic that gets onto 287 between those two places going both directions. And it's like Rutledge had said earlier, Sheriff had said, is we get just as much traffic as I-20. So if that weigh station can help stop some of these vehicles going down the road that are unsafe and help protect the drivers, I think we should. I think it would be good to invest what needs to be invested to make it an opportunity for the citizens. I think we need to invest that money. A friend of mine once told me when I'm debating on buying something, pay once, cry once. So, those are just my thoughts, after listening to y'all cuss and debate it up here the other day. And just want to get that out there.
Okay. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Patrick.
All right, do we have any other public comments this morning? Okay, it is 10:08 and public comment is closed. We'll move on to the consent agenda. There are 4 items on the consent agenda, and I do not have any modifications or requests to change anything. I don't even have a request to table anything on that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's got to hurry before I change my mind. We've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon to approve the 4 items on the consent agenda. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the items on the consent agenda? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. General business item number 1, review and approve the regular bills for payment, verify payroll taxes have been filed, and authorize the county treasurer to disperse payroll and/or bills within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, electronically, or be picked up and acknowledged by a ledger's signature in the treasurer's office.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Mahler, seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve bills for payment, verify payroll taxes have been filed, and authorize dispersal of payroll and/or bills. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
One abstention.
There being 4 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention by Commissioner Fincannon, motion carries. Item number 2, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve and ratify the minutes of the September 2nd, 2025 regular session and the September 4th and September 5th special sessions.
So
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to approve and ratify the minutes of all 3 mentioned sessions. Would y'all like to do 3 meetings a week moving forward? We want to do that now? All right, we got the motion. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 3, discuss, consider, and/or take action to review and approve quote for the construction of fencing around the Precinct 4 barn to be paid from Fund 409 with lines determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Watts?
Yes, Judge, I need to table for the most part, this action until next Tuesday morning. We had found a mistake yesterday, and they're reviewing that, and I need to finalize some numbers. They just didn't have time to get that together. There was, and I'd asked Tana to be a part in this project, is the removal of 3 partitions of fencing that will actually come out of the way where we are expanding area. And I need to surplus that property and see if we can maybe advertise for even the removal or the taking of the fencing once it comes down. It's not a tremendous amount of chain link, but there is some nice pipe fencing that would come down that could be of use to someone.
Precinct 2 would probably be I could probably use some of your 6-foot chain link fence. We had some hit by a car that I'd like to.
Oh, okay.
You have some that's pretty good shape that I could reuse.
Yeah.
If I can.
Yeah, all of this is in decent shape. It's not tore up or anything. It's just going to be removed to allow for more open area. And then next Tuesday, we can look at those proposals for the actual creation of the fence, which will also reduce some of my proposals if there is an alternative way to dispose of some of this fencing.
Okay. All right. Is there any objection to the motion or any objection to tabling this item until next week?
No.
Okay.
And can we go ahead and surplus that property
We can put it on the agenda to do that, yes.
for next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Item number 4. So we've entered the budget and tax rate portion of today's meeting. Item 4 is discuss, consider, and/or take action on the budget cover page, introduction, executive summary, debt review, revenue, recapitulation, and fund overview sections within the proposed 2026 budget to include any additions and/or changes. Just like we did last year, I went ahead and printed off for each of y'all the just an item by item recap of any changes that have been proposed since the original budget filed on the 15th of August. In these sections, there are only 2. The biggest one on the budget cover page, in going back and looking over things again, I had realized that the no new revenue maintenance and operations rate that was put in on the cover page had the wrong number in it from the Truth and Taxation worksheet. So it is changed to .446349 to accurately reflect the apples to apples comparisons from 25 and 26 budgets for that. And then the second thing in the introduction section, I'd like to thank Greg Hawkins on our staff, but he added a history of the county section in the introduction. It actually we'd already done such a great job with it on the website, the county website. We just pulled that in, and those are the only 2 changes made to these sections from the proposed budget to today's proposed budget for adoption. Are there any questions or comments about those changes or any amendments y'all would like to offer to those sections?
No, I make the motion, Judge, we approve the amendments to all those sections.
Second.
With the no new revenue rate, does that change any of the other figures within the budget?
It does not.
Okay.
It does not.
It just,
It was just an
it's just an
incorrect
error. Okay.
number put in.
And Judge, is this a function of ClearGov? Will it track your changes after the fact? So you don't have to make mental note or make notes? It will actually
It
show
does have an
you.
audit trail. This first time out, I went ahead and made notes as we went, but it will.
Oh,
provide
that's
a trail of it.
a real convenience.
And to answer your question, Commissioner Beecham, when we're figuring all of our actual no new revenue rate,
Yeah,
we're putting together special road and bridge no new revenue
Right.
with the M&O. And so it all comes out in the wash for the total numbers that we're
so
using.
the rest of the math is still the
Correct.
same elsewhere.
Correct.
Okay.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon to approve these changes to these sections of the budget. Do we have any questions or comments on that motion or the item? You didn't find anything, Matt, this morning that I missed, did
No,
you?
sir.
Okay. All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 5, discuss, consider, and/or take action on the department summaries, capital improvement plan, and elected officials salary section within the proposed 2026 budget to include any additions and/or changes. There are 8 changes on this one, and I'll just walk through them. Feel free to interrupt me if you've got questions. In the auditor department summary, we added an organizational chart which had been inadvertently left off the first one. We did the same for the tax assessor collector department, the maintenance department, and then we modified the organizational chart that was in the public defender department summary. So that's 4 of those are just related to the organizational charts. In 401, the county judge department summary, we added $1,000 to the bond premiums in response to legislative changes that occurred after the initial budget was filed. So the total in that department has changed to reflect this. We did the same in County Court at Law 1 and 2. We added $1,034 to their bond premiums in response to those required legislative changes, made departmental change totals to reflect it. In Department 409, non-departmental department summary, we removed $3,068 from office supplies to equalize those changes that we made for the bond premiums listed above and changed the total to reflect that. And in 640 Indigent Health Department summary, I had initially in the first draft accidentally had it pulling in the Veteran Service Office information just in that department summary page, fixed that and made sure it was the right information that's showing. It wasn't pulling any of the totals from the wrong information, so nothing else has changed. It was just that one page of information has been corrected to reflect what is accurate for 640. Any questions or other proposed changes to these 3 sections?
Judge, I'd make the motion that we accept those corrections or those added items into these sections.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon to incorporate the outlined changes in these 3 sections. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 6, discuss, consider, and/or take action to adopt the 2026 Wichita County budget. So for those who have already been part of the budget workshop and the public hearing, I apologize, you're going to get to hear this a 3rd time. But since we've got the media here and this is one that some folks will pay attention to, I did want to take some time to actually lay out a little more for the budget. First of all, I want to say thank you to some folks. I want to thank Matt Davis, our auditor, and Mike Sloan, our assistant auditor, for their help throughout this process from the beginning of it, before we even started having departmental budget meetings, all the way to got an email this morning from Matt double checking some of my work. And so would have been much, much more difficult to do this without your help, and I appreciate y'all. I also want to thank the department heads and elected officials who all got their information back in a timely fashion. We had good meetings with nearly every department, and just wanted to thank you for working with us on a budget I think we can all be proud of. And finally, I want to thank the commissioners who saw fit to approve ClearGov and using it. this year. I can't tell you how impressed I've been with the product. It has made my life in the preparation of this much easier. And I'm excited to see what we do next year when we get department heads and elected officials trained up and in the middle of it, and open up these tools to all of them to be able to work with. And just y'all's continued work on the budget and your attention to keeping things on track. I appreciate y'all. For an overview of the budget, it is an $84.68 million budget, which is in all funds. That's a decrease of $1.4 million from the 2025 budget. Where we're spending our dollars, because that's really what the budget says is what our priorities are. Our top item by a long shot is public safety. Jail, sheriff's office, constables, courthouse security. For the all funds budget, it's right at 38%. We talked to general fund in the public hearing last week. That number is even higher when you talk about just our general fund discretionary money. That's by far the biggest item that we spend on, and I think that reflects the priority of that is undergirds everything else that government does and to make an economy function around here. The second biggest item we have is in the judicial realm. It's one of the things the state requires us to do is have an efficient and effective system of courts. And so we spend 11% all funds money on judicial functions. Coming in third is 9% for health and welfare, which for us that mainly is indigent defense and healthcare and the public defender office. Also coming in at 9% in all funds is road and bridge maintenance, the budgets for the four precincts. We also are spending 5% on debt, and that's the voter-approved debt for the law enforcement center, and 5% for construction projects that are budgeted for in 2026. And then we're spending 3% for the ongoing maintenance of our facilities. And then adjunct to that, we are spending 15% for general administration and all of the support services that are necessary to keep all of those things functional. So think IT, think the budgets for the commissioner's court and the county judge, all of that's in support services.
So on the 5% to construction, most of that's still reflected in ARPA for this year, this upcoming year.
So for 2026, about a quarter of that is ARPA, because it'll be just the
Large
Burnett
percent.
project, I think.
It's about 900,000.
Yeah. This is an increase in the general fund budget of $3.5 million, which is mainly in three areas. Employee compensation, which is $2.5 million of that. That includes salaries and benefit increases. IT costs, up $400,000 since the 2024 budget. And that, as we talked about a couple of times now, that's going to continue to be something that we see. And then property and liability insurance are going to cost us $125,000 more in 2026 than they did in 2025. So you throw those three things together, and that's almost all of that $3.5 million increase. On the compensation front, it's a 3% increase across the board in most places. We've got higher amounts between 4 and 10% that are mainly focused on the attorney and law enforcement classifications, as we've talked about before. Those are two areas where we continue to see the most competition for our folks, and we actually see folks leaving to go pursue higher pay in other places. To try to combat that and keep our best people, this budget authorizes higher increases in some of those classifications. This budget also does include increases for nearly every elected official. As I said when we talked about this in August, I'll say it again, this is part of a 2-year effort to get salaries closer to our peer counties. And just for those wondering, our peer counties, I really look at 3. It's Gregg County, it's Tom Green County, and it's Taylor County. They're the closest to us in population and the closest to us in budget size. With these changes, most of our elected officials will get up to the bottom of our peer counties. And I've said this before, and I will say it again and defend it to the hilt. In county government, elected official positions are professional positions. They're department heads. They manage, in some cases, really large staffs. And I think it's important in the public service sector for us to get good people to be willing to run for those positions. And I think one of the things that we do to do that is to try to compensate them accordingly. Also, another point of this, the largest increases in the elected official realm and heck across the budget as a whole were for judicial pay, and those were changes that are required by the legislature. I think those were changes that were well called for and earned and a long time coming, because again, to make sure that we get good people willing to run for those judicial positions, they can probably make a lot more money in private practice. And so the legislature saw fit to increase those amounts, and we are required to keep pace with, especially with our county court of law judge positions. And a lot of those increases are offset partially, or in some cases fully, by state funding increases. I'll stop there. I'll talk some more about revenue if y'all want me to go on, or if y'all have questions or want to make comments on that.
Judge, I do. If you would expand on the fact that even though we had an increase to the general fund budget, there was an overall decrease in the amount of spending year over year from the previous year. How is that accounted for?
So our all funds is going to take account of every single category of spending that this budget encompasses. So general fund, special revenue, which includes road and bridge, debt, and grant funding. We're seeing decreases, especially in the grant item, largely because ARPA is rolling off, which would have been included at a much higher number in previous budgets. General revenue we are seeing an increase in, and again, it's mainly to pay our people. So when you see the all funds budget, you've got to account for all of those different categories of funding. And overall, it is a smaller budget. But for the specific bucket of money that general fund comprises, it's an increase.
Judge, one number that continues to jump out at me, and I don't want to sound too much like Dave Ramsey here, but having 5% go to debt service is huge. And as much as had we not made that decision 3 or 4 years ago to whittle that debt down and get it manageable, this would be a lot tougher budget than it is right now. And I think that is something this court did that really makes a difference. You gotta manage that debt, and organizations and, municipalities and counties and everybody right now that's handling a bunch of debt, they're feeling the pressure.
That's right.
And it puts us in a really good situation. That was a sound decision, and I'm so glad we got that done.
It gives you flexibility where you can make better decisions. As far as the revenue picture goes, this is a tax rate decrease of about 1/4 cent from the 2025 tax rate. Now, as everyone is aware, there's 2 components of a tax bill. There's your rate and there's your value. Values in Wichita County on average have gone up, and they've gone up more than the rate decrease accounts for, which means that this budget will raise revenue, it will raise taxes. For the numbers on those, this budget raises $1.8 million more in tax revenue than it did in last year. Now, of that, over $500,000, $563,000, is from new revenue. So growth, new property coming on the rolls. Why that matters? New revenue means more people, more properties are paying for the bills. And so it means a lower tax rate than would have otherwise been necessary to fund our services. I'll stop there on the revenue pictures there, because I'll talk more about this when we get to the actual setting of the tax rates, but I'll go ahead and say it here. This is confusing. Tax rate numbers are confusing for folks. Some of that's just the nature of it's 2 variables going into a tax bill, and everybody's tax bill is unique. You're paying taxes on your value for your property. The rate's the same across, but it's your property. We have to figure numbers based on averages. So some people will pay less, some people will pay more, depending on what your property value did over the last year. Another factor that is just part of this still is that the state requires us to provide a number of different pieces of information in the name of transparency. which I think everyone up here is all in favor of. The problem is that they lay it out in such a way that we give you information in different forms and with different numbers. So we'll get there, and this is what I was going to get there in a second. When we get down to actually setting the tax rate, there's language that I am statutorily required to say. And in that language, it will give you 2 different % increases in your taxes. It's true, it's just different numbers. One has to do with the no new revenue maintenance and operations rate. The other has to do with the no new revenue rate as a whole. To try to simplify that, I have always talked about what this will mean for the average person on increased taxes that they're paying per 100,000. To do that, we've used the no new revenue rate. That's what my figure is based on, because that no new revenue rate is on the same bucket of properties that pay taxes last year, that are paying taxes this year, that will pay taxes next year. Those properties stay the same. That bucket of properties stays the same. Those are the people who are paying taxes one year to the next. And the no new revenue rate is set so that what is the tax rate that those people will pay to raise the same amount of revenue for us from one year to the next. To me, that is even though it doesn't sound like it, that is the clearest way to portray what an actual tax increase or decrease is. Because all of the math that goes into the formula gets put in there, and at the back end you spit out a number. That's where the $13 per $100,000 tax increase number comes from. No new revenue rate. There are other ways to look at it. You can choose not to compare the bucket of properties from one year to the next and just do average homestead value. That doesn't capture business taxes, that doesn't capture anything but homesteads. That's one of the things that we have to put on our public notice. But that doesn't give you a full picture in my perspective. You can also just talk about differences in the specific parts of that tax rate. To me, I don't think that's what most people care about. They want to know what, at the end of the day, on average, what their tax bill is going to look like from one year to the next. And the really great thing about this is that once we have adopted a tax rate, you can figure that number out yourself. The Wichita County Tax Assessor's Office, they have a worksheet that shows all of the adopted rates. You just get your notice that was sent out on your value, plug those 2 numbers in, and you can figure out what your taxes are going to be next year today, if you want to. Have I just unnecessarily complicated things there?
So on a median price home in Wichita County,
Mm-hmm.
the overall tax rate is approximately $2.25 more per month.
Yes. So the median.
Somewhere in that general vicinity.
This is so
Rough math.
Yeah, the median value for a homestead in Wichita County is $187,000, and based on the no new revenue rate, that's about a $24 increase in taxes from what it would have been if we had adopted a no new revenue rate, which to me is
All right, so
year
$2
to
a
year.
month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nowhere in that explanation did you use the term de minimis. That is so disappointing.
So,
And I will say this: every man on this dais will be more than happy to talk to any constituent who wants to visit about how all of that's figured and how all of it comes up. It is confusing. We know that. And again, it doesn't help that there's going to be multiple numbers thrown at you. So we have had nearly 50 public meetings on the budget this year. And they're public. Always welcome, and we love to interact with folks who have questions about this. So if you do, holler at us.
So
We'll be more than happy to.
out of 50 public meetings, how many were attended by persons that are not county employees?
Well, our media folks were
Outside
here
of our
for a couple of those, so outside of them, no one.
And we value your input. We'd love to have you here. We'd love to hear from our constituents.
Yeah.
And we probably had some people viewing
Yeah.
Sure.
the live stream.
So, to put a bow on that, The average taxpayer in Wichita County, for their Wichita County taxes, will see a slight increase on your tax bill from the one you paid earlier this year to the one you're paying next year.
If your property values went up.
If your property value went up.
If your property values went up, on average,
Right.
the average rate of everyone else's did. Because that's what we work with, is what the average numbers are. If you have a property that did not go up by that average amount, you could see flat or even decreased taxes. If your value went up more than the average amount, you will see a higher increase than average. That's as clear as I think I can make it. There are a couple of other notable items, and then we really will wrap this up. This budget does continue the support of our outside agencies, including our volunteer fire departments, spending $276,000 going out in support to them. And we are transferring a cent of general fund revenue to the road and bridge precincts based on a mileage formula that will go into their budgets, and a cent of revenue, we're lowering the tax rate for special road and bridge by an equivalent amount for that purpose. So you'll see that transfer in there as well. Just to close things out, what I want people to hear is that Wichita County is in a great fiscally stable condition. We have enough fund balances to handle any emergency or catastrophe or bad year that would come up without the need to radically increase people's taxes from year to year. But we have not done so by building up savings accounts that are too big and I think overtaxing people. I think we're in a good spot on that front. We are also in a position where this is a budget that is keeping up with expenditures. We're not spending out of our savings account for our ongoing expected expenses, so that we don't end up in trouble a year, 2 year, how many years down the road. So that's what I want people to hear, is we're in a good spot from that standpoint. And our priorities, in my opinion, are where they should be. The core services required by law, public safety, our courts, indigent health and indigent defense. What I just described to you is over 60% of our budget. But that's the core services people expect us to provide and that we have to. They're also in our roads and bridges and unincorporated areas. This budget allows each of y'all, maybe not to do all the work you'd like to do, but to continue keeping on top of roads and being able to make progress in that area. And then to Commissioner Mahler's point, the only debt that we have now is voter-approved debt. And it'll be on there for a while, coming down a little bit every year, but I think that's a good place for us to be. We're continuing to maintain services in a high inflation environment without asking taxpayers to shoulder too heavy of a burden. And I think that should be our goal with any budget and any tax rate that we set. I've talked enough. With that, I'll turn it over to commissioners if they have any comments that they'd like to make.
Judge, I'd just like to make the motion that we adopt the 2026 Wichita County budget.
Second. And good job with everybody that
Very good
put
job.
out so much effort into this.
And Matt, Mike, thank y'all for your part as well. I know you've been great companions to Jim, working through all of that and quickly find any bobbles that occur, so thank you.
They were
From
there
my-
every time,
Yep.
every time.
From my observation, the time I've been on the court, this seems like this was the smoothest budget year we've ever had.
And we met at every department for the
Yep.
most part. We
Yep.
posted them and we met and we talked through issues that departments had or their thoughts about moving forward and what they were going to do. So it was a very open discussion.
Again, thank you to everyone who was involved with it. So we've got a motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to adopt the 2026 Wichita County budget with those incorporated changes that we approved in the previous two items. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item?
I'd like to make some comments, Judge.
Mr. Davis?
So, again, commend the judge for all of his work that he's done on the budget. Thank you for all the commissioners that have been there for the budget hearings with all the departments, all the outside agencies that have came in. Thank you to our tax team in the back for working with us on the truth and taxation, coming up with the tax rate, making sure everything was right, even if it was a text or a phone call on a Sunday night. And so, just to clarify a few things, on the judicial salaries, we cover one of our CCL judges and the state covers the rest. And then for our district judges, they are state employees, so we just cover their support staff and their supplements. And then we obviously cover our JP offices. The revenues that were presented on this budget were still conservative, but we were in the black for 2024, and it is expected that we will continue that trend, hopefully. Our reserves this budget were a little over 14 million, which is one of the least amount of reserves we've had in the last 3 or 4 years. And the court should be commended on y'all's use of the ARPA funds. Wichita County received, $25,684,127. Of that, we have obligated and plan to spend $25,684,126.80. That means Wichita County will be returning 20 cents to the federal government for the 25 million.
Two dimes.
So,
Well, and to that point, those were funds, those are Wichita County taxpayer dollars sent to the federal government. I have more faith in our ability to spend them well than theirs. And so that's why I think that's a thing we wanted to do. And yeah, it's a good job because it precedes me by a long shot that everyone on this court should be commended for.
Matt, a lot of that was spent on projects that would have cost tax dollars, things that we knew were coming that were gonna have to be done, and we tried diligently to really invest those things in things that brought long-term value, and I think the court did a good job.
And they may not have been done had
May
we.
not have
No, they would not have been.
And we knew we were gonna get to help pay that back, so we wanted to
Yeah.
put it to good use. 20 cents, we couldn't have squeezed 20 more cents.
we tried.
You can't even buy Tommy a Coke with 20 cents.
That's well managed from everybody. That took a huge team effort.
And the auditor's office is the one that kept it that close, so let's give credit where it's due.
Yep.
Am I correct, Judge, work will be completed with ARPA funds, am I correct?
It won't
Maybe
cover
not
it all.
completely, but
Won't cover it all.
most of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you have?
That's all I got, Judge.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so we've heard the motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Beecham. Any other questions or comments on that motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Item number 7, discuss, consider, and/or take action to set the maintenance and operations rate at the proposed rate of .468347 and .023295 for the special road and bridge tax for a total of .491642, or is changed. It was, unless y'all propose a change, it was not changed.
Judge, can you expand on, I'm trying to find it here, where, oh, it was in our summary, I'm sorry. The budget cover page, is it because of the no new revenue rate that is reflecting differently of .44?
So, in the truth and taxation worksheets, which again, for the public who may not know this, we attach those in the appendix of this budget so everybody who's interested can see in full transparency the numbers that went in to the calculation of these rates. In the course of doing those, you're figuring out no new revenue rates on an individual basis for maintenance and operations. You're figuring out a no new revenue rate for special road and bridge tax, because you need to do that for the worksheets. But at the end of the day, you put those together, and that's what the no new revenue rate, that's the final rate, is going to include those numbers in it. It's also including debt as well. For the no new revenue maintenance and operations rate, I had added, on the first one, I'd taken from the wrong line previously, which was basically taking special road and bridge and M&O, putting them together for that number. When, to keep consistency, it should have been just the M&O.
But the 0.491642 is a total of road and bridge combined with M&O,
That's correct.
as separate and apart from no INS inside that number.
Correct.
Okay, I'll make that motion that we approve that.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Beecham, to set the M&O rate at the proposed rate of .468347 and special road and bridge tax rate at .023295 for a total of .491642. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? That motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. To Commissioner Watts' point, item number 8, discuss, consider, and/or take action to set the 2026 budget debt service, INS, rate at .029661.
So move.
Oh, second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Mahler, seconded by Commissioner Watts, to set the INS rate at .029661. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item?
Judge, I'll make a comment.
Yes.
So this rate is a little smaller than it would have been, and that is due to using some of the fund balance that was remaining and reported on the 2023 Act to offset some of the taxes collected for that rate in next year's budget. And so that rate is smaller than what it has been historically, and that is also noted in the Truth and Taxation appendix that was prepared by our tax assessor's
And that is
office.
the only thing that money can be used for.
That's correct.
So we collected more off of the rate last year's taxes, so we had to put that back toward the, toward the
Correct.
note.
That's
Okay.
some of it, and then also we've had pretty favorable interest as of late,
yeah,
and so that's some of it as well.
okay.
Yeah, and so rather than just hold on to that money, we chose to use it
Apply it.
to
Buy
lower the
down,
rate.
buy down the rate.
Yep. All right. Any other questions or comments on that motion by Commissioner Mahler? Okay, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. I'm going to read the language and I'll make the motion on this one because I've got to make sure it's done correctly. Item number 9 is discuss, consider, and/or take action to set the tax rate with a motion as follows. And then you can see that. I'll actually read that again though. So if you add all of those together, special road and bridge, M&O, and INS, you get our total tax rate, which for this budget is .521303. And so I make the motion that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of .521303, which is effectively a 2.61% increase in the tax rate. Hold on, and then we'll talk about it. This tax rate will raise more taxes for maintenance and operations than last year's tax rate. The tax rate will effectively be raised by 4.93% and will raise taxes for maintenance and operations on a $100,000 home by approximately $22. That's the stop of my motion.
Yeah. Were you
As
making
I
the motion or just reading it?
I was making the motion.
You were making the motion, okay, good.
I'll
So,
second the motion, Judge, but my question was, can you not remove the word rate out of the
because
equation?
it's not what we're doing at all.
The rate
That's-
did not increase, the rate decreased
The rate decreasing.
from last year.
No wonder everyone's confused.
You are correct,
Mhm.
but the legislature requires that language to be read when you are adopting a rate higher than the no new revenue rate. So yes, even though in absolute terms the rate is decreasing, that is the language that must be.
And so is the 2.1% increase an increase over no new revenue?
That is the increase over the no new revenue rate.
Say that again, Jeff?
It's the The increase is the amount of increase over
Over,
no new
which is the
revenue as opposed to
2.61.
where we are, which is really mute to the fact
But not an increase over our
not,
previous rate.
it's a
Yeah.
decrease.
The rate
to
is a
our-
decrease.
That's right.
And to that point,
It's like a bad comparison, really. I
And that's
mean,
why everybody has so much trouble understanding.
That's exactly
Yeah, I
right.
feel sorry for
well, and
them.
then we
Yeah.
throw in a different increase and a different dollar amount at the bottom because it's just talking about maintenance and operations. It is confusing. Again, that's why I talked about it earlier. For the standpoint of what's the best and cleanest way to look at it from a taxpayer's perspective, use the no new revenue rate. That is the indication of whether or not you're raising taxes or lowering
Right.
taxes. Thank you for asking that question.
But even though it seems, you hate to make a motion that's not absolutely correct, but yet we're mandated to do that, if I
Well,
understand it.
we are.
correctly.
That is
The
Okay.
main thing, we are raising more revenue with the tax rate that we are
Right.
setting. The tax rate is lower than the previous year.
Yeah.
Therefore, we are setting a higher tax overall,
That's correct.
in layman's terms.
All right. So there's a motion by me, seconded by Commissioner Watts, to adopt that total tax rate of 0.521303, and with all of the language that I read that will be included in the minutes. Do we have any questions or comments on that motion or the item as a whole?
This has to be a roll call vote, doesn't it?
It does have to be a roll. Thank you for reminding me of that, Commissioner. All right, I'll ask Morgan as our clerk to call the roll on that vote and indicate aye or nay.
Commissioner Beecham,
Aye.
Commissioner Kincannon,
Aye.
Judge Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Muller,
Aye.
Commissioner Watts.
There being 5 ayes, 0 nays, the motion carries. Thank you all, everyone. Item number 10, receive update on courthouse renovations and county courthouse annexes.
Tommy kind of stole the thunder already. Park office is open. They're still finishing up the restrooms. I was out there yesterday. They were finishing the reconditioning of the tile. They're putting in the backsplashes, and we will be done. So there's a little bit of electrical work left in the kitchen. There was a problem with the electricity that was supplied to the range, so they're having to redo that. And they still have some electrical plates and stuff to put on, but for all practical purposes, we're done. And the Digi project started yesterday in full force. They're pulling in wire. Doors, it's Mickey's project, they're starting to place the doors today. In talking with everybody over the doors, we are going to be down on that west door until probably middle of next week, in order to get the new system up and operational. Working with Brendan, we'll be sending out an email probably later today on the credentialing of everyone that has access to that west door. We'll have to go ahead and do everyone's new ID card for that, that has access to that door,
Yeah.
so.
And to be clear, that's not affecting the public at all. That's
Not public, but elected and appointed officials that do have access to that rear door. You'll have to have new credentials issued sometime this week or next week.
And use a different door to enter for a
And-
while.
And until your new credentials are given, then you'll have to use the front door.
Any other comments or?
On that, Mark, our card still on the IT hallway would still activate those doors over there.
For the time being, now that door gets replaced too in the next
Right.
2 weeks, and
But
your new-
if we
your
come
new
around
credentials-
after hours, that would be.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, when that door goes live, everyone will have to be re-credentialed
okay.
to have access after hours.
Hopefully,
But they'll still be the same, will they
hopefully
not?
we get one electronic one done before the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they'll still be the same.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, good,
once you're
good.
I guess I'll clarify that. Everyone in the county will have to be re-credentialed with
Okay.
new ID cards. And that will be your key access to your suite, There will no longer be individual mechanical keys to the suites. Only people that will have mechanical keys will be the appointed and/or elected official over that office. That way there's true access control. Everyone else will use their cards to get into the building, to get into their suite. Those cards can also be used to clock in and clock out of the new time clock system. So it'll be an all-in-one.
Exciting.
And a short update on the Burke Annex, I've had several meetings with the architects on that, going over drawings back and forth. And I did send out to Tommy's office, Judge Burchett and Constable Burchett, also all looking them over, making sure that we'll have any input from them. Try to get those finalized as quick as possible so we get it forward.
Yeah, and we'll be getting a motion up on the court's agenda coming up soon for
Yeah.
actually approval of everything that needs to happen for that project.
Which way we're gonna go with it.
Any other questions or comments on that item? All right. It is 10:57 and court is adjourned.